Protesters are boycotting Starbucks after black men are arrested. Mexico's candidates are avoiding talking about the elephant in the room, pensions. Netflix is soaring after it crushed subscriber growth targets yet again, and Elon Musk just sank more than $100 million into the Boring Company. Hello and welcome to today's edition of Mexico News Network's Breaking News Business. I'm Elliot Bullman. Let's go to the information. The arrest of two black men at a Starbucks in the US city of Philadelphia has sparked protests and boycott calls. The coffee chain's chief executive Kevin Johnson apologized for the arrests in a statement on Saturday, but protests have continued throughout the week, with many entering the store on Monday to call for the manager's dismissal. On Twitter, the hashtag boycott Starbucks has been shared tens of thousands of times, and a video of the incident posted on social media has been viewed close to 10 million times. The arrests took place last Thursday evening. The two men, who had not made a purchase, were waiting for a friend to arrive when they were asked to leave by the store manager. They refused, and the police were called. Philadelphia Police Commissioner Richard Ross defended the police's actions in a video statement posted to Facebook, saying that his officers did absolutely nothing wrong and that they followed policy. In his statement, Starbucks chief executive Kevin Johnson said the basis for the call to the Philadelphia Police Department was wrong. Our store manager never intended for these men to be arrested, and this should never have escalated the way it did. In other news, in the next sexennium, Mexicans who reach the legal age of retirement will increase by 20%. So, what are the presidential candidates proposing to do about this expense? The presidential candidates talk a lot about what it costs to pay the pensions of ex-President Calderón, Fox, Cedillo, and other ex-presidents. But when it comes to ordinary citizens, they haven't said anything about the crisis that is looming in 2021. According to civil organizations, spending on pensions could be a headache for the next president for two reasons. Firstly, the country pays very high sums to public officials, and there will also be 20% more pensioners to whom the government will have to complete a pension. Between 2021 and 2022, during the third and fourth years of the next government, the first workers will be pensioned under the reformed IMSS law, which took place in 1997, which, according to estimates associated with the low level of savings, will barely reach on average a pension of 30% of their last salary. According to Neil Emberson, a pensions planner at KNG International Advisors here in Mexico, the real burden on public finances may not be felt in those years, but actually when a greater proportion of the public actually starts to retire around the year 2030. Emberson highlights three issues that should concern candidates on the subject of pensions. Firstly, increase mandatory savings for workers. Second, lower the cost of paying pensions for the transition generation. And third, create financial education programs and incentives for people to save. In this sense, only two of the five presidential candidates have proposals on pensions: Andrés Manuel López Obrador and Ricardo Anaya. AMLO's National Project 2018 to 2024 document proposes that part of the universal pensions for older adults be financed with fiscal resources that he expects to release within a period of 4 years. On the other hand, Anaya proposes to reform the country's pension system to guarantee a sufficient pension for the dignified retirement of workers. But neither the pre-candidate, José Antonio Meade, who was Secretary of the Treasury, nor the independents Margarita Zavala and Jaime Rodriguez have touched on the issue, which they will have to resolve if they want to win the electoral contest. A presidential debate on June the 12th will address issues of economics and development, where the problem of pensions could be addressed. But even before that, presidential candidates have an opportunity to show that they have something to say about the cost of pensions, which will probably force them to rethink how they manage Mexicans' money. Moving on. Netflix blew past its subscriber growth targets in its first quarter earnings report this Monday, and its stock rose by more than 6% in after-hours trading. The streaming giant added a total of 7.41 million subscribers in the United States and internationally, its biggest total for quarter one. Netflix reported $3.7 billion in revenue, in line with Wall Street estimates and the company's forecasts. Investors should also be pleased about Netflix's guidance for quarter two, with estimates for domestic and international subscriber growth well above what Wall Street was expecting. Netflix's continued subscriber growth has been propelled by the strength in quality and quantity of its original shows. In quarter one, Netflix released a few high-profile originals, such as the sci-fi series Altered Carbon, David Letterman's new talk show, The Queer Eye, Reboot, and a new season of Marvel's Jessica Jones. In its letter to shareholders, Netflix pointed to its wide variety of formats, catering to the diverse tastes of subscribers. Netflix has also jumped into movies in a serious way, planning to release 80 original films this year. The company, however, has publicly sparred with the Cannes Film Festival and recently decided to not screen any of its films there. Hollywood insiders are split on whether this will affect Netflix's business in a tangible way. Netflix also highlighted its deal with the superstar hitmaker Ryan Murphy, as well as with Shonda Rhimes, Sean Levi, and Jenjai Cohen. It says these kinds of deals allow it to reduce our reliance on third-party studios and forego the corresponding license premiums we've historically paid. But all these original TV shows and movies and marquee showrunners haven't come cheap. Netflix has said it will spend $8 billion on content this year and expects negative free cash flow to rise to $3 billion to $4 billion. In other headlines, The Boring Company, Elon Musk's tunnel digging company, has raised $112.5 million in a recent round of funding, according to an SEC filing the company submitted on Monday. According to The Boring Company, no outside investors were involved in the funding round. The company said 90% of the funds raised came from Musk, while the rest came from earlier employees. While Musk's name is not listed on the filing, it does include Steve Davis, a senior SpaceX engineer whom Musk chose to lead The Boring Company, and Jared Birchall, the president of Musk's artificial intelligence company Neuralink. Musk founded The Boring Company in 2016 and hopes to use the company to create underground tunnel networks that could house new high-speed transportation systems like Hyperloop, which could carry passengers in pods at speeds of over 600 miles per hour, and Loop, which resembles Hyperloop but would be used for shorter distances that require slower speeds. While Musk has faced resistance from city governments and public transit experts, he's received permission to build test tunnels in California and Baltimore. And The Boring Company is one of two finalists to build a new transit system between Chicago's downtown area and O'Hare International Airport. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+, and log on to MexicoNewsNetwork.com for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.